The way I look at it is from a relational standpoint. Essentially, trauma often happens in the context of a relationship, and it's also healed there. And so while there's treatment modalities that I'll talk to in a second, essentially it comes down to creating a really safe space. I provide a container for someone to let all these things that they've held inside and bottled up for so long, a safe space for them to unpackage it and really understand how it's impacted them. A lot of trauma treatment is really helping people understand that these behaviors that you've learned to use to survive, they definitely served a purpose at one point, and oftentimes they're actually hindering you now. Do cognitive processing therapy, which really focuses on helping people process the details of their traumatic event, and not for the purpose of going back to the details, but to process the emotions that they didn't have an opportunity to process when that traumatic event happened. And what we know is that really it's the avoidance that maintains these symptoms. And of course people avoid. It's terrifying. What they went through was terrifying. So does it make sense they didn't want to go back there? Absolutely. And so it's being able to be that guide and that safe space for people to know that you can go back there, nothing's going to happen to you. And as painful as these memories are, they're not going to hurt you. And so depending on how a person presents with me, if a person's, merely more stuck in terms of like their cognitions, in terms of their beliefs about themselves and how they see the world, I'll do more of a cognitive approach. Whereas another person may be really avoidant of any thoughts of what happened to them, or going to, any place, or even have a conversation, or even watching a TV show that may trigger these memories. And that I would use more of a prolonged exposure approach. And you know what? Sometimes I use bits of both, because no one person is going to come and fit into this neat box, and nor should they. It's my job to get to know somebody and know what they need to be successful in treatment. And, generally we're pretty successful. And if we're not, we can always make changes, because I don't expect people to fit into our treatments. I expect to develop a treatment that is going to fit them.